now, 11 games in, right? 8-3. What are you most confident about when it comes to what we've seen and what we think we will see, I guess, going forward too from the Vikings?
I'm most confident in the offensive weaponry that they have in terms of the guys that are around Kirk Cousins. I think Stephon Diggs gives plenty of reason to be confident in him each and every week, whether he only gets 4 targets or whether he gets 7 targets or 8 targets or 12 targets. Stephon Diggs is one of the best in the NFL. When Adam Thielen comes back, I will be confident in him. I have growing confidence in Irv Smith. I'm incredibly confident in Dalvin Cook. Kyle Rudolph, I have confidence can come up big in big spots, even if I don't think that they necessarily use him right all the time right now. I'm confident in all of those guys.
All right. Manny Hill, what's your confidence?
I am confident now, 11 games into the season, that the Vikings are going to go to the playoffs. I think it has a lot to do with how they've played, obviously, the last month and a half. But I just look at the rest of the NFC and the teams chasing them behind them. I mean, there's just not a lot of, who do you look at? The Vikings right now are sitting at number 6 in the NFC. The Rams are right behind them at 6-4, a game and a half behind them. That's really the only threat, if you really think about it. Philadelphia is not a threat. Carolina is at 5-5. They're not a threat.
There's no one that scares you.
Yeah,
it feels like the 6 teams that are in the playoff picture right now are the 6 teams that are going to be in the playoffs.
Yep.
Like, it's
hard just
for
a
me
matter
to
of where
envision,
everybody's going to be seated at.
Sure, it's hard for me to envision the participants looking much different than they look right now.
Because the Rams are 2 games back, correct?
Yeah,
basically, yeah.
And Philadelphia just doesn't feel. And
the only way
have a tiebreaker over Philadelphia anyway.
Well, the only way Philadelphia is getting in is winning that division, which I guess is probably, if I had to pick what's the most likely team on the outside looking in, it is Philadelphia because they have the easiest avenue.
Right.
The Rams can't win the NFC West now. The Rams only hope of getting in as a wild card, where it's going to be easier to win the NFC East than it is to get the second wild card spot.
Right. And Carolina at 5-5, they're a non-factor, I think, at this point. So as far as confidence goes, the Vikings are going to be in the playoffs.
What got into the Atlanta Falcons these past 2 weeks? Raheem Morris goes to calling some defensive plays, and they get good.
We're going to hear about the Atlanta Falcons later, Judd. Don't worry.
And they get, I'm sure you're disappointed in them.
I am. That's why we're going to hear about them.
I can't figure this out. Like you were so bad, and now what? You're halfway good in Carolina. I don't get it. Okay, so we're starting with Vikings confidences, and if you like to weigh in, 651-646-8255, 651-646-8255, Vikings confidence, curiosity, concern, and one spicy hot take at the bye week. I'm going to start off with a weird one here for confidence, though, because we all agree that basically 11 weeks in, this defense is not as good as we expected. It seems to be tailing off. The pass defense, as Zimmer talked about, definitely not what we expected, right?
Yeah.
But here's my confidence. The Vikings defense is not going to give up a ton of points. They are currently, after all the problems, right? After Denver comes in and goes up 20-0, Green Bay 21-0 first half, and you're like, oh boy, this is a problem. And then, basically didn't score much from there. The Vikings are 5th in the NFL in points allowed, 18.6 per game. The most they've given up in a single game through the first 11 games is 30 to the Detroit Lions. And that wasn't a win. I am confident that the Vikings defense, for all of its flaws and problems, is doing a pretty good job of holding teams in check and scoring points. So it's a weird confidence because the pass defense does not look the same. The defense as a whole probably, now the ends are very, very good, but the defense as a whole, is not what it was 2-3 years ago for sure. But they're giving up 18.6 points per game. That's not bad.
I'm confident. I can't say I'm confident. I can't say I agree with you there.
And it sounds weird
because this could all change next Monday night. A week from this upcoming Monday, this could all change because it's easy to see Russell Wilson going out there and lighting them up for 35 to 40 points. I could see that happening. I can't say I'm confident that this team's not going to allow points.
For all the flaws that we've talked about, the fact that they've gotten to 5 games left and are giving up fewer than 20 points per game surprises me. And ultimately, it's the most important stat. And you're right, Danny. Seattle might light them up. Well, heck, Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay in a few weeks might do the exact same thing. But right now, I don't think that they're going to get torched points-wise. Are they going to get torched yardage-wise and passing yards-wise? They have.
But they've been above since after they played the New York Giants. They won that game 28-10 because you said they're allowing what 18.6 game 18.6 points.
Yep.
Their average has gone up every week but one. The Eagles scored 20 on them. The Lions 30. Washington was only 9.
Yep.
The Chiefs scored 26. The Cowboys scored 24. The Broncos scored 23. So this is a trend moving in the wrong direction. It's only at 18 because if you look at the first few weeks of the season, okay, the Falcons scored 12. The Packers only scored 21. The Raiders 14. The Bears 16.
But Denver scored 20 early and then did the same thing Green Bay did, which you thought, oh, they're going to give up 40 points today. And they stopped scoring.
But that's Brandon Allen.
Right, but the Packers did the exact same thing. 21 points, and you're like, they're going to give up 45 points today. And they stopped it. I'm just saying, for all of the flaws there defensively, the points allowed are not terrible. And I think if Zimmer has a chance to keep one thing in check, it might be that. Now, Seattle might be tough. I agree completely. But I'm just saying, got some confidence there. It sounds weird. John in Manhattan, how are you, my friend?
Good. How about you, my friend?
I am, you know what? I'm outstanding.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was for Danny.
Oh.
I'm doing well, John. What's up?
Thanks a lot, John. Really appreciate that.
Good to hear that.
Yeah, same to you, John.
My Vikings confidence is that ultimately they will let me down.
That's fair.
I am confident that they will let me down.
How and when, John? Let's get into specifics here. Let's work you through this.
Okay. Here's the thing. I think they're making the playoffs. I'm with you guys. Honestly, I think there's a chance that they overcome Green Bay. Green Bay's got a lot of road games coming up.
Yeah.
They could get into that last game against the Vikings or the second to last one there in 16, and they might, the Vikings might squeak one out, and then we've got the division. But here's what they're going to do.
All right.
It's going to be. They're going to be mounting a comeback in the playoffs. They're going to be driving down the field. Dalvin Cook's going to be having the game of his life. And my main man, my favorite QB, Kirk Cousins, is going to say, you know what I miss? I miss playing hero ball. He's going to be first and goal from the 8. Everybody's going to be saying, I've seen this before. And he's going to, instead of throwing it away, he's going to try to hit Thielen in the back of the end zone, and it's going to get picked off. And we're going to say, see, I should have turned off the TV after week 2.
Is this I'm sorry, did you say, is this in a playoff game or is this in a heartbreaking game at the end of the season like against the Packers?
No, we'll have beaten the Packers to win the division.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
That all the demons are exercised.
Gotcha.
Only to lose a playoff game the exact same way we lost the Packer game.
Who beats them in the playoffs? Who's this happened to? And who intercepts the pass, John?
Of course, it's the Saints. When
Okay.
we can't beat the Yankees, we can't beat the Saints.
All right, John. Thanks a lot. Have a great day, John.
Hey, yeah, you too. Get
Bye.
started, guys.
651-646-8255.
John's the best.
Oh, he is. Josh in Seattle. How are you, Josh?
Good. We just beat the Saints in the playoff game, so I don't know what that guy's talking about. So this
John's
is
pessimistic, Josh.
I have 3 players, 2 of which right now are a shoo-in for MVP candidates. One is a mystery player. So player A, 2,737 yards, 23 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Player B, 2,756 yards, 21 TDs, 3 interceptions. And player C, 2,258 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. 2 of those, one, Russell Wilson, the other is Lamar Jackson, and Kirk Cousins right in there as well, too. Tell me he's not an MVP candidate right now with only 1 more interception, and 2 less touchdown passes. He's got to be in the talk.
It's hard to argue that, Josh. It really is. As someone who was very pessimistic towards Kirk Cousins, his chances of really leading this team early in the season, since week 5 started, he's been arguably the best quarterback in football. He's been that good.
He was great in October, yeah.
Even this past week, Judd.
Hey, Josh, I think if he goes into your town there in prime time and plays incredibly well, the national media grabs the storyline that you just gave and starts to talk about it seriously and a lot more. Don't you?
I absolutely do. This is going to be a huge game. This is going to be, where he can overcome all that doubt, all that primetime talk. Because if we win in Seattle, that's going to almost not guarantee us a playoff, but that's going to put us in a very good position to kind of just write out the rest of our schedule with NFC being so close, San Francisco losing. So it's going to be up for grabs. But if he can do it in Seattle, that's going to put a lot of these doubters to rest. A lot of Vikings fans are always haters. It seems like 50% of Viking fans are haters. So I don't know if we can convert those guys unless he wins us like 4 Super Bowls. But yeah, he'll definitely be in the top.
Thank you, Josh. I don't know that haters is the right word. I think they're beaten down. I don't think they're haters. I think
they're waiting for the other shoe to drop.
That's John.
Yeah.
I totally get
John
what John
wants them to win.
Yes, but I totally get what John is saying. John is saying consistently, and he's not wrong. He's saying they're going to break my heart.
Yep.
And to be honest with you,
they might.
Until they go to a Super Bowl and win that Super Bowl, it's hard not to say that. It really is.
Especially when you consider the quarterback who has been playing great this year himself has broken hearts last year. In this last couple of years in Washington, he broke hearts.
But, we've got kickers breaking hearts. We've got breakdowns of – that's the thing about the touchdown pass to Stephon Diggs against the Saints in the playoff game. That always happens to the Vikings. Just like the Penn State kid 2 weeks back here tripping on the 10-yard line. That's supposed to happen to the Gophers.
Yep.
That's what we're used to. That's what we're conditioned.
And then they tripped over themselves in Iowa.
Yeah. Hi, Richard. How are you?
Hey, how you doing? Good morning, guys.
Morning.
What's up?
I just want to say that I'm confident that we're going to make the playoffs. Now, a thing that I was concerning, what I'm not confident in is Kirk, if he's really wanting to take the team on his shoulders or he's more concerning about his being in Minnesota. Because the other day he was on the Brett Favre show. I don't know if you saw that, but he talked about his job being here in Minnesota again. So I'm just wondering, is he more playing better because he's more worried about staying in Minnesota or he's really wanting to go somewhere to calm the narrative?
So was he concerned in talking to Favre about his job, or what was the context of the conversation?
Yeah. If you go to I saw it on Twitter that he was talking with Brett Favre on Brett Favre's podcast that he was worried about staying in Minnesota again. So that's like the third time this year he's bringing that up. So I'm like kind of worried about him. Is he playing for us or is he playing to stay in Minnesota?
Thank you, sir.
Will his last year of his contract, will he be playing even better than he's playing this year just because he wants to stay?
Right. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to say this. I don't really care why he plays well. Do you guys? I mean, if he plays well, if he feels,
who cares?
If that pressure helps,
just play well.
If that pressure helps him, good.
Yeah.
This is what you wanted. I mean, this to me remains a short window opportunity here. So this is not like Cousins is your 8-year guy. I don't think. So if Kirk Cousins is going to pick it up now, I also think that there's things outside of his contract, new coordinator, Kubiak, offensive philosophies that after the Bears game started to take a positive turn for Kirk. So I'm not going to say that he is playing like this completely because of his contract having a year plus left. But if making him feel like he lacks that contract security causes him to play at a higher level, then I'm thrilled.
Yeah.
Good.
Who cares?
Good.
Whatever that motivating factor is.
All right. Item number 2. We went through confidences at the Vikings bye week now. Now I want to get to concerns. What concerns you, Danny Cunningham, about the Vikings right now?
Your confidence is my concern, Judd. I think that this Vikings defense isn't good enough. And I didn't think that that's a sentence I'd be spewing out at any point this year. But I really don't think that they are a good enough defense to win big. I think that the offense is good enough at this point. I've changed my tune there, I know. But I don't think that this defense and the secondary especially, I don't think that they have enough talent anymore. These guys at one point all were really talented, but they're not now. I don't think that they have enough to make it on to go on a playoff run. I just think that there are too many good quarterbacks in the NFC that can light them up on a weekly basis. And if the Vikings are going to win playoff games, they're going to have to be shootouts. And I'm not sure that I like my chances.
I don't like that at all then. I don't like shootouts. Not against – if you give up a ton of yards and don't give up a ton of points, I honestly don't care, okay? At that point, I don't care. But if we're going to say that you might have to win, well, heck, let's go back to Kirk week 1, right? Might need to win a game, 52-50 or something? And you're in the postseason? I don't like it at all.
No, but that's what this defense has shown us. I mean, we all laughed at Kirk, but Kirk looks right.
The only thing is the points allowed, I'm telling you, are not nearly as bad because we've seen teams give up yards before.
I think that's a little skewed by some strong early season performances.
Manny, what's your concern?
My concern is related to the defense as well, but it has more to do with the head coach being a defensive guy and his specialty being in the secondary. Like that has been Mike Zimmer's calling card. He was a very good defensive coordinator in Cincinnati for a number of years. He was a really good defensive backs coach in Dallas for a number of years, especially when they won the Super Bowl against the Steelers many years ago. This is what got Mike Zimmer a head coaching job in the NFL. It took him a while, but this is what got him a job. And I'm concerned that Mike Zimmer's bread and butter is not going to be able to fix this defense or help it get a little bit better. Like we played the soundbite earlier in this segment. The pass defense has to get better. Xavier Rhodes is who he is right now, and he's done. He's cooked. Like that I don't think is salvageable. Trey Waynes kind of just is who he is as a football